Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Synoria, with Synoria's Best Kept Secret podcast. And today I have with me Mr. Rhymefest. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, Synoria. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad that we're able to finally, meet today. We've had a lot of correspondence between the two of us, or myself and your team.
Yep.
And I'm just glad we were finally able to make it happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Connection.
Yes. Well, I know you're a busy man, so I want to make sure that we are able to cover all of the topics and talking points and get into everything. Now, Rhyme Fest. Where did that name come from? I was looking up and I'm like, what Rhyme Fest? I mean, I love your flow, but where did that come from?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. The way that ancestrally our people have learned in West Africa, starting in West Africa, has been from the griot. The griot was who taught the village using poetry, using rhyme, using our stories. And that type of learning is how our children still learn best today. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When you put it in a rhyme, when you put it in something that makes education exciting, like a poem, this is a tradition that has been thousands of years in the making. So when that name Rhyme Fest, it's something that like when you speak to me, I speak in parables, I speak in poetry, I speak in love and tradition. And so that name is just part of that old griot tradition.
Yes, I love that. And that's definitely true, right? Because even as adults, I think, we learn a lot of things just by kind of putting a beat to it or, trying to get that pattern down. So that's definitely true.
Yep.
And those
And
ABCs are definitely there. I'm sorry.
and people try to, we should never let anyone make us think that that's not a good way to learn. What people have done with our culture is our culture has been put in the industry, used against us, used to make us think that it's ignorance, to trick us out of our ways of teaching ourselves and our communities because money has got in the picture and exploited and kind of reconfigured what our education looks like and made us think our education is only entertainment value when it's way more than that. So, I believe we should be using our gifts, our arts as part of our communal education.
Yes, now that's a word, Ryan Fast,
Yes,
definitely.
ma'am.
Well, speaking of the arts, let's get into your artistry, right?
Oh,
You're
yes.
a storyteller, you're a musician, you're
Yeah.
a lyricist. I got a chance to, hear and listen to your album, Blown Away. And I'm not just saying that. I love the flow, I love your style. Let's talk about it, right?
All right.
Creative direction as far as the project. So first of all, the project is called James and Nikki, a conversation by Rhymefest. What was the creative direction behind this project?
Well, like a lot of people, I was seeing those clips on the internet with Nikki Giovanni. The project is about James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni, but I was seeing these clips with Nikki Giovanni saying to James Baldwin, "You go to work and lie to them every day. You smile in their face. Come home and lie to me. You come home and I get the worst of it. I get your anger. I get your sadness. Give me that lie. Give me your smile and your joy and pretend to love when you come home. At least that'll be some type of love." And
Wow.
I said, why is she talking to Dr. Baldwin like this? Like,
Right.
what is going on? And I went and looked at the whole conversation, and what I saw was man and woman, teacher and student,
Mm.
poet to poet, bi and gay, husband and wife. They were using alchemy to talk to the community about how we should treat each other as a family. And this 2 hour conversation in the early 70s. And I said, this needs to be remixed. This needs to be updated. This is our story today. And so I said, we have to begin to remake those conversations and those books and those words that were given and show where we are at today within those conversations. And that's when the album James and Nikki
Yes,
was
and I
born.
love the way it ties together and came together. And you're so right as far as those perspectives. It's so funny that this was something of the 70s. We're now here in 2024, and those same conversations are needing to be
Well,
had. And the way you were able to, meld them together, I was like, oh my God, like I listened to it like twice. Like I had to go back because some of the stuff I wanted to make sure I was, understanding, and
yeah,
then just
yeah,
catching the tones and the flows and the actual dialogue that was going on between the two. So I think you did a great job as far as meshing those worlds together and bringing it to the current day.
yeah, yeah. I will say this though, the same way James Baldwin had Nikki Giovanni as a counterpoint to his thoughts, because even his thoughts were one-sided
Mm.
and had a blind side. There was a blind side to his thoughts. He needed Nikki to round out some of what he was saying. So James Baldwin would say things like, you can't tell a man what to do. You have to suggest it. And Nikki would
Mm.
say, no, that's your ego that says that. I demand that you be a man.
Right.
And for me in doing this rap project, it was important for me to have women co-authors on every song to embody the spirit of Nikki Giovanni, so that as I embodied the spirit of James and what I was rapping and my perspective, my blind side was also covered by the perspective of each woman co-author. Right now in hip hop, the hottest thing going in hip hop are women rappers. They're
Right.
on all the top charts, they're everywhere. However, I see many women rappers making the same mistake the male rappers made in the 90s, in the early
Okay. And so
2000s,
what is that mistake?
exploiting
What is
ourselves.
that mistake you're speaking of?
Uh, we exploited ourselves, we
Mm.
pimped our gifts, the men.
Mm.
We were so interested in money and moguldom that we didn't use our gift to teach, to lift. We were so interested in just getting people to dance and catering to the entertainment that we didn't use our gift like the griots. And I'm not saying that that's all our individual faults. There are systematic issues at place in our culture and in our music, as it's a multi-billion dollar global industry.
Yeah.
However, I see a lot of women rappers going down the same path that the men did, that has led to where we see Puffy is, to where that has led to, for real, because sometimes the the money and the perceived power can can make you think it's about you. And as individuals, as people, we can be tricked against ourselves with money and power. And so this is a new day. And what we want to make sure is the same way that our drum is attempted to be used against us, our
Mm.
men were used against our own community, that doesn't happen with our mothers and our sisters and our daughters. I have a daughter that sings, that does choir. I have
Yes.
another daughter that does art, that makes costumes. I want to make sure that when they're in the industry, they're also in their art with a sense of obligation to lift community and not just self-serve, but be of service. And so in James and Nikki, what I knew had to be done was to grab women co-authors for each song that were not only great as lyricists,
Right.
but just like Nikki Giovanni, coming in the spirit of service, and
Yeah.
showing that women rappers are more than just, you know, they're the best rappers. They're not just women rappers.
Right.
They're not just there to talk about their bodies. They're not just there to talk about money. They're there with ideas about what community, manhood, womanhood, familyhood is, like Nikki Giovanni, like Gwendolyn Brooks, like, all of the women authors and poets who have come before them. And so
Yes, yes, that
I
that
was so proud
that
to have
blending of
8
femininity
great
and
women co-authors.
masculinity and being able to hold your own in that space. Yes, I love that.
You
Yes.
get it. And they rap better than me. I had to keep up with them.
Well, look, at least you're man enough to admit that, right? Yes,
Yes,
I love
ma'am.
that. Well, let me ask you, what made you want to, because we know James Baldwin, right? Poet, I'm sorry, writer, activist. His 100th birthday is coming up, August 2nd. What made you want to make this tribute to him in such this way?
Right now there's something going on in hip hop that's not being talked about. Hip hop is in academia. You got people like Lupe Fiasco
Yes.
who's teaching classes at MIT. You got Bun B who's teaching humanity classes at Rice University. You have Harvard that has a program with Ninth Wonder and Nas. I just did a political fellowship at the University of Chicago
Oh,
and was awarded a humanitarian doctorate at Chicago State University.
look,
Black Thought,
congratulations on
thank
that.
you,
That's a
thank
big
you.
feat. Yes.
Black
Applause. Yes.
Yes, Black Thought was just presented with a doctorate for his service. Special ed, same thing. There are so many artists in academia right now that, when you ask why James Baldwin was more than a poet. He was more than a novelist. James Baldwin was a prophet of our community that
Mm,
everyone doesn't know about.
right.
James Baldwin said, God gave Noah the rainbow sign. No more water, the fire next time.
Mm,
Ooh, he gave us parables to live by. And so why James Baldwin? This is a time where we have to start bringing back those old stories, those seasoned poets, bringing back the voices of our ancestors as we pivot into the future. That's what they gave it to us for.
yes, I love that as well. And speaking of ancestors, like I said, I listened to the album. When I say
Yeah,
Nini, what does
Nene.
that mean to you? Nini.
I'll tell you something. Nene is who I call my elderberry.
Hmm.
That's my grandmother. And my grandmother, Nene, my elderberry, 2 weeks before she transcended and ascended, um, she was dealing with dementia. She forgot everybody's name. She didn't know, like, many times where she was, maybe even who she
Right.
was. But the one thing Nene, my elderberry, gave me was a way to communicate with her when this time came.
Okay.
And she would play the OJs, she would play Isley, she would play Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it was those artists that when she lost everything, I would sing to her, Here we go, walking the stairway of heaven. And she would repeat, You and I. And when she lost all her memory, she remembered those songs. What is it that's so sweet, so tender about those songs that were given to us by Earth, Wind, and Fire, by Maze, by Frankie Beverly, that somebody who loses all memory can remember by heart
Right.
those tender words. And
Because it's
so,
the emotions that are attached to it that trigger
huh?
the emotional connection that triggers that memory, because that was probably a time for her of celebration, enjoyment, and so it's able to bring that back. Like you said, music is like a cure-all, basically.
And
Or yes,
isn't that wisdom at the
yes,
end of every day? Isn't that just doesn't that just equal wisdom?
yes.
To know how to connect with the heart in a way that makes the mind reactivate. Ooh,
Yes,
That's
react.
who I want to be in this world. My grandmama, my elderberry, my Nene taught me how to connect with the heart
Yeah.
in a way that makes the mind wake up.
Wake up. Yes. And your mind is definitely woke, right? We've been speaking about, the album and just
Uh-huh.
the love that you poured into it, as well as the admiration you had for James Baldwin, and now touching on the love and admiration that you have for your Nini,
Yes.
who taught you through these different songs how to connect emotionally, how to be more in tap and intuitive to your feminine energy. Again, you said this is why you've allowed different females to be featured on your album. So
Yeah.
keeping that same energy with the female, right now we have Miss Mrs. Kamala Harris, VP right now, but she's
Yeah.
actually being entered into the race for our POTUS. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
Now's the time to invite everybody back to the cookout. Now's the time to say, you may have been on the other side. You have said, oh, these are two of the same type of candidate. It doesn't matter if I go with this one or that one. However, we're at a pivotal moment now, especially as Black men who have a lot of healing to do in
Mhm.
our homes, a lot of healing to do in our community. We done toe it up.
Yeah.
We done toe up. We done cause chaos and disruption.
Yes.
It is time now for Black men to be mild of temperament, to be at peace, which is really power reserved. That's what peace is, reserve power, to show our peace, to show our love, to say we're going to support these women and support this woman in particular, how the women have supported us. The
Right.
women, the Black women, have held us together politically. The Black women have held our communities together economically. The Black women is who nurtured us when we was down and when we didn't know which way to go because of things that may or may not have even been in our doing,
Right.
knowing that systematic injustice exists. However, the one thing I love about our people, Synoria, is that a lot of people say Black folk, we ain't together, we don't come together. But what I've seen historically is that every time it was mandated for us to come together, we all formed together.
Man,
Whether
yes.
it was the civil rights movement, whether it was the election of our first Black president, Barack Obama, and we will be together in supporting our women and our woman, Kamala Harris.
Yes, I love that perspective. Our woman, because I definitely feel the same. I had a chance to do coverage during the Essence Fest for the
Mhm.
VP. And I mean, just standing in that room and listening to her address her people, us, it was just so inspirational, so awing, to be a Black woman and to be able to witness, something that many thought we would never even be able to witness, even her being a VP.
Yeah,
So the possibility of her becoming president, like I'm getting chills just even thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because it's just
yeah.
like
And,
let's get
and you
her
know what?
there.
I'll tell you something. Zernell Hurston said all skin folk ain't kin folk. So this goes bigger than color. It goes bigger than flesh. This is really about people who share value systems. This is about value systems. Do you value democracy? Do you value public education? Do you value a woman's right to choose over what happens to her own body? Do you value freedom? Do you value that you could go get a passport, go in and out, do whatever you want to do in this country or another country? We got our passports. You can go to 188 different countries. We got one of the strongest passports in the world. If you value those things, this is your village of values. This is in our village of values. It goes deeper. I mean, we're gonna come together as a people, but we got to come together as a village of values too.
Right. Yes. Yes. Values in a village. Building that stepping stone, that foundation and securing it. Yes.
I agree.
Yes, yes. Well, listen, I want to go back to your album, right? Because you kind of went over
Okay.
the black man's involvement as far as what's coming, what we're looking to come for Kamala.
Yeah.
And you have a uh song on the album titled Black Man.
Mm.
So in listening to it, I what touched me or what spoke to me was God's only hope is us. Can you elaborate on that for me a little bit?
Yeah, that was a conversation that James and Nikki were having where, uh Nikki said, or one of them said, it's 30,000 of us and only one God. God's only hope is us. And what we did with Jesus, nobody saw it coming. We took Jesus and turned it out. And,
Yeah.
and so, I think it's poetry, it's their conversation. My interpretation of it is God comes from the inside out. If we
Mm,
can't bring the spirit of our holiness, of our God, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, if you can't bring the spirit of God out right now in this time, there's no hope for God and no hope for us. If we can't bring the spirit of God out with how you and I communicate, sister, and love and respect, what hope is there for what God created us for? God's only hope is us, and it's coming from the inside out. And guess what? The devil is coming from the inside out as well.
mm,
And so, there's a battle happening in every man and every woman that we have to contend with in order to bring out the light of God. God's
yes.
only hope is how you deal with yourself every morning when you wake up. Do you do battle with yourself before you walk out the door? Do you heal yourself throughout the day? Do you take naps? Do you eat well? Do you speak kindly? And watch, Maya Angelou said words are real things. Be careful of what you say to people or let people say to you. Words get in floors, they get
Oh,
in
yes.
doors and upholstery, and they get in you. So God's only hope is us by the way we treat ourselves to bring out the light of God in
Yes.
every action we take.
Yes. And that's right. Because, like they say, words take power and take hold. There's power in the tongue. So, definitely the fact of saying, we are God's only hope. I definitely, so now it brings more clarification for me
Yes.
because I listen to it and I'm listening to the conversation, but everybody has their own interpretation of
Yeah.
things. So I just wanted you to elaborate on that for me a bit, which I definitely appreciate. Now, one thing that
Isn't that beautiful though? Isn't that beautiful about words and poetry? And this project, and I'm so proud that
Mhm.
Golden State Entertainment collaborated with me. Golden State Entertainment is a wing of the Golden State Warrior. And when my brother Dave Kelly came to me, who's a chief business officer, he came to me and said, we want to help you put this project out. And I was just like, wow, to have a entity that wasn't a record label, but now the Warriors as an entertainment company saying we want to put things out that have impact in community. It was a dream come true. So I want to thank Golden State Entertainment for even assisting us in getting this out to the public.
Yes, that and that's what it takes, right? Like you said, community, collaboration, being able to come together and make things happen. So yes, that is, and I commend them as well for assisting you in getting this out. Yes.
Yes, yes.
So I do want to just ask as well. So again, my podcast is Synoria's Best Kept Secret. What are some, I don't know,
Okay.
industry gems or anything that maybe you think you're able to share that is may not necessarily be a secret, but may not just be as known to the masses that you're able to share as far as you being within the industry.
The only way that, in my experience, that I've been able to navigate this industry successfully
Mhm.
is to put myself second. and the
Mm.
purpose first. And in that way, I can co-write a song like Jesus Walks with Ye and not think, what about me? No, you give. I can help co-write a song that wins an Academy Award like Glory with Common and say, hey, y'all brothers are the best to deliver that message. There you go. Put yourself, um, everything is not about you in the first person.
Mm.
And when you are working in the industry, you never know where your ultimate position may be. So don't have a fixated mindset. Be like bamboo. Don't if you're not bamboo, your branch will break. So
Mm.
let things happen. Go on the journey. Don't be so dedicated to the outcome. And what
Mm.
I've learned is as you start, that way you're not pimping your gift. You're letting your gift make room for you. So a lot of people that go into the industry are so fixated on the outcome, we don't allow our gifts to make room for us. And that's why only a few people make it, because they never find their actual position, because what they were actually chasing was running from them.
Wow. So you're just saying, just let it flow, basically. Let think
Use your
what
gift and
happens,
let it flow.
it will happen in due time. What will be, basically.
And it will be more incredible than anything you could have conjured, imagined, or tried.
Mm. I
You
love that. I love that. That's a major gem. You know what I mean? Because
know?
again, it teaches you the virtue of patience, because a lot of people just feel like, and especially now, in our society now, it's like I want things to happen when I want it to happen, instead of allowing God and the universe to allow it to happen.
and,
So
and and when and how. There's a poet, a guy by the name of I think W.C. Murray, but Murray is the last name. And
okay.
he has a quote that says, once you commit yourself, unforeseen occurrences will begin to happen.
Mm,
Resources will be drawn to you. People will be drawn to you. Material assistance, which you could have never have imagined, will come your way once you commit yourself. We want the thing to happen before we commit ourselves.
mhm.
It only happens when you commit yourself and you allow the unforeseen to come your way.
Oh wow, that's powerful. Yes. I mean, you have been dropping word. I don't know if your name should be Rhymefest. I think it needs to be pastor, prophet. I mean, it's just the way it comes from you. Like it's just natural. Honestly. And then even your tone with it. Like you're somebody to definitely pay attention to. So yes, I definitely agree with all of that. And then it's just like the energy that you
Yeah.
bring. It's just
Thank you.
calming. Yes, yes.
More, this is something more men.
Mhm.
I'm really on this. Like, men, we got to start holding each other accountable for calmness, for mildness, for reserve power, which is
Mhm.
peace. Because once we do that, the children will feel safe. When the children feel safe, the mothers can do the nurturing and the watering of the garden, and we can grow something the world has never seen. But men, we have to be in one accord, calm, and we have to exhibit a kind of reserve power that is real power. Because once you exhaust your power, that's it. Everybody know what you got. You took your swing. That's what we see happening with the other side of our politics today. We see them taking their last swing of hate. We see them swinging with all they got. And all we doing is standing here and saying, "Ooh, look at them." So what I'm saying is to all of those people from our village that thought that side was winning and jumped on the other side real quick, we are welcoming you home. Come on back to the cookout, act right, and join hands, and let's make a circle. It's not a straight line, it's a circle.
Yes. Connected circle. Yes, yes. Let me ask you this, because, and I don't know if you're familiar. I just want to kind of, because when you said about just us coming back together. There's been a recent event in the news and on different blogs regarding the young mother who was shot in
in
her
Illinois.
home after calling the police. And a lot of people are saying that when she said, I rebuke that, it brought out that evil, that demon of the officer. What is your take on that, or do you have a take on that? Is that something that you've seen as of recent?
Uh, that's deep. I read the story, but I never put it together like that, that when she used uh those ceremonial words, it's like you know, it brought it out. Um, I can't speak for that at this time. I
Okay.
think sometimes, because I don't know the circumstance,
Okay.
but sometimes those stories remind me of the stories I read about when our ancestors were enslaved and when they would hang one to scare the others. And sometimes those stories get out in the media, and in order to say, look at this body right here. Now, y'all all go sit down because this can happen to you. And we get to trading those stories and talking about them. And then we stop talking about the greatness. We stop talking about the power we got. We stop talking. It's not that we shouldn't take time to analyze that, but we're beating that right now.
Right.
That call of 50,000 women, black women, that raised in an hour that raised $1 million for Kamala Harris. There's a call I'm getting on with 50,000 black men that are doing the same. And
Yeah.
there was another call yesterday with Roland Martin with 30,000 black men. We got to pause to say, sister, we coming for justice for you. But we gotta keep being solutions oriented and not distracted by the trauma and the terror that they're trying to introduce into our psyche. And
Mm.
I get it. We have to pause and see it and recognize it, but don't stop being solutions oriented. Because our dear sister who's not with us anymore, she needs us to create new legislation.
Yeah.
She needs us to take over that police department. I'm running for school board right now in Chicago, and the first school board election ever in the city over a entity. The Chicago Public Schools controls $10 billion a year
Wow.
in community assets. My every time I vote yes, somebody becomes a millionaire on that school board.
Yeah.
So we have to stay focused, pay attention, take note, and reimagine these systems.
Yes. Reimagine.
Awesome.
Yes. And it's time. It is definitely time. And I'm praying, and like I'm sure a lot of us are, that the change and the adjustments will finally, come. But we do have to continue to fight, that good fight. And I'm glad that, you're being a part of that by throwing yourself in the race, in your capacity. So salutes to you on that as well.
Thank you. I encourage everybody, go to rhymefestforcps.com, donate, buy a t-shirt, read the platform, challenge me, hold me accountable. I'm down for all of it. It's only with you guys that I can have I may have a vision, but I don't have all the ideas, and I'm willing to learn. So go to rhymefestforcps.com and let's continue building our community. Tell me how I can help you. But Synoria, what I tell people, when people come to me and ask for help, and when I go to people and ask for help, the one thing I say is let's make it easy for each other to help each other.
Right.
Come with some stuff already on the table. Come with something we can already. So when you say, okay, Fess, I got this, all you got to do is plug it into here and we could do this together and build something. When I come to you, I'm not going to come and say, Synoria, can you do all the work for me? Because this is my idea. I'm going to come to you with something that makes it easy for you to help me and even advantageous for you too. And if we keep doing that, that's how we build.